If in the Philippines, unless you live in Batanes, our country is laden with bad traffic, then there's the less than perfect roads and tight spaces. So a small but tall car would be ideal, right? Nope. This is because we love our seats, whether it's to ferry our bigger than average family across the metro or bring back the week's groceries. Seven-seaters are becoming a trend for the average car buyer. In fact, just a few months ago, 5 out of the top 10 searches on AutoDeal were for seven-seaters, with the Ertiga bagging second place, only because more popular was, well, the Ford Ranger, because people were trying to find out either the good deals that were have on it or the new one. In this somewhat of a comparo, as you might call it, trying to figure out if a minivan or an SUV is better for you and your family, our two contenders here are more premium than MPVs. They do, however, offer more features for a price. We'll go through pertinent categories like interior, ride comfort, practicality, and others to show you just what each platform has to offer. And together, we'll see which particular feature set not only tickles your fancy, but works best for you and your lifestyle. SUVs sit on a body-on-frame chassis, as opposed to crossovers that have a monocoque body construction. Now, SUVs in the Philippines include the likes of the Mitsubishi Montero, the Toyota Fortuner, the Nissan Terra, the Isuzu MU-X, the all-new next-generation Ford Everest, among others. Minivans, on the other hand, are bigger MPVs with sliding doors. Local examples are the Honda Odyssey, the Carnival, the Alphard. They don't fall in line with the Hi-Ace or the Urban or the Starex, which are full-size vans. Got it? Good. So, if you are in the market to buy a vehicle, chances are ride and comfort will be high on your list. Now, this will especially hold true if you plan on bringing your entire family with you every now and then. Ferrying kids will be hard if they're getting jostled around in the cabin because of uneven roads. While SUVs are reasonably comfortable, their main limitations are that their chassis and the suspension setups. Most midsize SUVs have an independent front suspension, but most have a dependent rear in the form of a live axle. Couple this with the multi-piece construction of the frame, while solid, still isn't as airtight as a monocoque because vibrations may kind of go in between the seams of the chassis assembly points. Mumbo jumbo? Yeah, okay. Simplified, matagtag. Okay? Now, a minivan, on the other hand, gives you a better ride comfort compared to its SUV counterpart. Since it has a monocoque chassis, it rides smoother and cushioned over bumpy roads in the metro. Coupled with fully independent front and rear suspension, it puts ladder frame SUVs to shame in terms of coddling their occupants. As these vehicles are seven-seaters, they need a good amount of power to haul both passengers and cargo at the same time. Now, aside from this, these vehicles also need to handle well and, well, are easily maneuverable at the same time. You have multiple options here and different kinds of drivetrains to boot. Now, unlike minivans, however, SUVs can go almost anywhere. With a diesel engine bolted in and a drivetrain that can come in either a 4x2 or a 4x4, it can bring you almost anywhere. The added ground clearance does wonders as well. You might not be gliding over the surface, but the under chassis will come out unscathed over humps and bumps and other common obstacles on the road. In the case of the minivan, they can come with either gasoline or diesel engines, while SUVs are mostly, if not all, diesel variants. However, they are less versatile as they won't be able to go off-road effectively. Some models do come with an all-wheel drive system, which is great, especially if you want that extra pull or push uphill. There is no question that SUVs are more performance-oriented. Engines found in these models are capable performance because of all the torque on tap. An option for the 4x4 system is also a bonus. Now, while minivans aren't slouching, they can't go off-road as capably as the SUVs, though why would you try? I just don't understand. When it comes to being a passenger or a driver in one of these cars, it's a bit of a split. One offers driver comfort while the other is geared towards, well, its passengers. An SUV is pretty spacious as it is. Granted, it's not as spacious as a minivan, but it does get the job done. Where this body style excels is the more driver-centered features. The seating position for the driver is less upright, but only marginally so. This, however, makes some differences when it comes to driving the vehicle. Move on over to the middle or the back row and you'll find that the space that you see is pretty much the space that you get. It isn't as modular or flexible as a minivan. If the middle row has rails, it usually is shorter than the average minivan. In the back seat, you can forget rails because those things are fixed. A minivan is a car to be driven in, especially if the unit comes equipped with captain's chairs. It's nothing but comfort and bliss for the entire journey. Some minivans come with benches to maximize the seating capacity, but the legroom is where a minivan excels, provided that you're not relegated to the rear seats. With 4 occupants, including the driver, a minivan is joy. And you also have more adjustable options for the middle or to the back rows to modulate leg space. This means that you can maximize space if only a few are traveling, or you can maximize passenger capacity in case you're hauling a party in the back. It really depends if you want to be driver-focused or passenger-focused. In minivans, features extend to the rear, while SUVs, you do get rear ventilation and perhaps some power outlets or even a TV in some models, but really, that's about it. This is where it gets a little interesting. See, groceries are undoubtedly a part of family life. So here, you'll find that both have only a few differences separating the two when it comes to this practicality. In minivans, since it's very modular, you will find that you can fit almost the same amount of cargo space as an SUV. Depending on the model, the space should be ample enough to rival the cargo area of its taller opponent, which leads us into our next bit. You wouldn't have to lift the items so high when loading in a minivan. Granted, there is no load lip like a trunk of a sedan, but it means less effort on your part to load your supplies, which is a win. SUVs, on the other hand, can hold just as much, if not more, than a minivan. We also have to consider that while minivans come with a diesel engine in some models, SUVs come with bigger displacements, meaning they can pull a lot more weight. The chassis itself is also pretty robust. Now, since most SUVs in the country are based on pickups, the traits of these capable haulers are passed down to the roofed versions. So it really all depends. See, both platforms share some similarities, but both also differ in smaller ways. It'll depend on what you carry and your preferences. It's a pretty close call between the two, as they each come with their specialties that help make them both appealing vehicles to get. Ultimately, this will all boil down to your personal preferences and needs. A minivan will give your passengers a better ride, and these vehicles are more passenger-centric. If you prioritize passenger comfort above everything else, then this kind of vehicle might be the right one for you. Take note that these can be long vehicles, so maneuverability might be an issue for you. SUVs, on the other hand, offer you a more versatile platform as they can be used to go off-road. While passenger comfort isn't a priority for these kinds of vehicles, they are tougher and can be used in almost all kinds of terrains. In the end, the choice is ultimately up to you. Whether you want all-out comfort or the jack-of-all-trades vehicle is beyond us. We do recommend buying what you can afford and making a good decision. Arm yourselves with knowledge through our selection of reviews on AutoDeal.com.ph and on this, our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe. See you soon.